Okay, so now we are going to take a look at our grammar connections lesson on page 107. Page 107. We're going to learn how to make polite requests and offers. So let me play the lesson, and oops, you can follow along.
Grammar Connections, Unit 8, Lesson F. Polite Requests and Offers. Watch and listen. Polite requests ask someone to do something to help you. To make a polite request, use could you, would you, or can you with the base form of the verb. You can also use would you mind with the gerund, verb plus ing form of the verb. Polite requests.
Would you move your chair? Sure. Will you move your chair? Sure.
Polite requests.
Could you help me with this box?
No problem.
Can you help me with this box?
No problem.
Polite requests.
Would you mind helping me?
I'd be glad to.
Watch and listen. Polite offers say you can do something to help someone. To make a polite offer, use why don't I, could I, can I, may I, or let me with the base form of the verb. Offers.
Why don't I move this box for you?
Okay, thanks.
Offers.
May I help you with that?
I'd appreciate it.
Can I help you with that?
I'd appreciate it.
Could I help you with that?
I'd appreciate it.
Offers.
Let me open that for you.
That'd be great.
Check your understanding. Look at the picture. Read the questions and the answer. 2 questions are correct, and 3 are incorrect. Choose the 2 questions that are correct polite requests. Read them out loud. Listen.
Will you move your chair? Sure. Would you move your chair? Sure.
Look at the picture. Read the questions and the answer. 2 questions are correct, and 3 are incorrect. Choose the 2 questions that are correct polite requests. Read them out loud. Listen.
Could you help me with this box?
No problem.
Can you help me with this box?
No problem.
Look at the picture. Read the questions and the answer. 1 question is correct, and 2 are incorrect. Choose the question that is a correct polite request. Read it out loud. Listen.
Would you mind helping me?
I'd be glad to.
Look at the picture. Read the offers and the answer. 1 offer is correct, and 2 are incorrect. Choose the one that is a correct polite offer. Read it out loud. Listen.
Why don't I move this box for you?
Okay, thanks.
Look at the picture. Read the offers and the answer. 3 offers are correct, and 3 are incorrect. Choose the 3 that are correct polite offers. Read them out loud. Listen.
May I help you with that?
I'd appreciate it.
Can I help you with that?
I'd appreciate it.
Could I help you with that?
I'd appreciate it.
Look at the picture. Read the offers and the answer. One offer is correct, and two are incorrect. Choose the one that is a correct polite offer. Read it out loud. Listen.
Let me open that for you.
That'd be great.
Let's review. Polite requests.
Will you move your chair?
Sure.
Can you help me with this box?
No problem. Would you mind helping me?
I'd be glad to.
Offers.
Why don't I move this box for you?
Okay, thanks.
Could I help you with that?
I'd appreciate it.
Let me open that for you.
That'd be great.
Okay, so let's go back to our book, and I'm going to go over this one more time just to remind you. Polite requests ask someone to do something to help you. To make a polite request, use could you, would you, or can you with the base form of the verb. So if you remember from the video, you had to choose some correct statements, and some of the incorrect statements use the gerund form. So make sure that when you use could or would or can, could you, would you, or can you, you use the base form. But you can also use would you mind with the gerund form of the verb. So when we use mind, we need to use verb plus ing. So keep that in mind. And then polite offers say you can do something to help someone. So it's like the opposite. Instead of a request, you offer your help. So to make a polite offer, use could I, can I, may I, let me, or why don't I with the base form of the verb. Okay? So let me make a comment though. Now, when we make polite requests, even though the book says, will you move your chair, is an option, it's actually not very common to use will you for a polite request. We often use will you if we're a little bit annoyed or impatient. So we might use this with, sad to say, but maybe with a family member, like you hear siblings, like brothers and sisters, use this a lot together to each other. Like they might say, "Oh, will you move your chair?" So if you notice, there's a little bit of a frustrated tone with this. So, and you might hear parents say, will you pick up the trash? Will you pick up your toys? And sometimes they might even say please, but it's still a request made from anger or frustration. So you might hear parents say, will you please take out the trash? I've already asked you 10 times. So as you notice, it's a request, but it's a little frustrated. So will you is commonly used as commonly used out of frustration, and when we have already mentioned or asked the question many times already. So, parents do that a lot. Like, I've already told you this so many times. I've already asked you so many times. Will you please clean your room? Okay. So anyway, when we are making polite requests, it's much better and much more common to use would you or could you, and even can you. Now, we've talked about this before, but just in case you don't remember, can is usually used for ability. So when sometimes your children at school might ask the teacher, can I go to the bathroom? And teachers who are really strict about grammar, they might say, I don't know, can you? Do you have feet? Do you have legs? Can you walk to the bathroom? So it's often used as a grammar correction. So when you're asking, normally we say, may I go to the bathroom? But this is a request for something that you can do. Or when you're asking, may I do something? then it's for yourself. But when you are requesting the help of someone or requesting that someone do something for you, then we don't say may you, we say can you. So I just wanted to make sure you understand the difference. So can you help me with this box? We do not say may you help me with this box. Now we do say may I, as you can see here, and can I here. So just note that difference. Okay. If you notice from the listening, I'd be glad to, or that'd be great. It's the same as that would be great. Okay, that's just a contraction. And then let's take a look at the activity. Exercise A, talk with a partner. Use the pictures to make and respond to requests for the situation. Then use the pictures to make and respond to offers for the situation. So we're going to make requests and make offers for each picture. Okay, so let's look at the first picture, for example. When we could make a request and say, could you help me with this box? Sure. Or we can pretend like we are a different person, and we might, or the other person, and we might offer our help. Let me move those books out of your way. Thanks, that'd be great. Okay, so take some time to do that for each of these pictures, numbers 2, 3, and 4. So make a conversation with a request and a conversation with an offer. Okay, so you can pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so for picture number 2, if we make a request, we might say, could you help me with these cups? Okay, could you help me with these cups? Or of course, we can say, would you mind helping me? Would you mind helping me? Again, you can add more information. You can say, would you mind helping me with these cups? Or we can just say directly what kind of help we want. So we might say, could you take some of these cups from me? Or you can say for me. Could you take some of these cups for me? Okay, so now if we make an offer, we might say, oh, let me help you with that. Or let me help you with those cups. Or let me grab some of those cups. Okay? Or let me take some of those cups. So there are lots of options. And then, of course, you don't have to just use let me. You could say, why don't I take some of those cups for you? Why don't I take some of those cups for you? Okay, let's look at number 3. So if we make a request, we might say, would you mind, would you mind taking this suitcase for me? Would you mind taking this suitcase for me? Or could you take this suitcase for me? Or could you take this suitcase? You don't have to use for me. Okay, and then for an offer, you might say, may I take that from you? May I take your suitcase for you? Or why don't I take your suitcase? So many options. And then number 4, request might be, could you repair my bicycle? Or could you look at my bicycle? So when we use the word look at, as you know, that phrase means to look at something. You already know that, but we can use it also when we are requesting that someone check something to make sure it's not broken, or if there's something wrong with it and you're not sure, then you might ask someone, could you please look at my computer for me, or could you look at my bicycle for me? So look at can also be used as a request to check something that might be broken. Okay, and then as an offer, you might ask, or you might say, let me help you with your bike, or let me help you with that, or let me check your bike for you, your bicycle for you. And I'm sure you have other sentences as well. Just make sure that when you use would you or will you, could you, can you, make sure you use the base form of the verb, and if you use would you mind, make sure you use the gerund form. Okay, so now we are going to take a look at exercise B. So it's very similar. We're going to talk with a partner, or of course you can just work alone. Look at the places in the box. Have a conversation in each place. Make a request or offer in each conversation. Okay, so let's look at the example. It's dark in here. Would you mind helping me find my seat? So that one is this one here, this dark movie theater. I'd be glad to. Follow me. Okay, thanks. So this is probably a conversation between an audience member, or someone who bought tickets for a show, and then also an usher, someone who helps people find their seat. Okay, so another example, like for a bus, if you want to make an offer, you might say, here, why don't you take this seat? Especially if you're talking to maybe an elderly person or maybe a pregnant lady, you might offer your seat if you're on a bus. So again, you could say, here, why don't you take this seat? So that would be a conversation between two passengers. And of course, you could make a response. You could say, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. And for a grocery store, of course, you might make a conversation between an employee and a customer, or two customers. And for an airplane, you might make a conversation between a flight attendant and a passenger. Of course, flight attendants are there to take requests from passengers. So there are plenty of conversations you could make. But you could also make conversations between two passengers. For example, maybe the passenger in front of you is reclining their chair all the way back. And if you need to eat, you might ask the passenger, excuse me, but would you mind pulling your chair up? It's definitely not an easy question to ask. There are all kinds of social situations that we need to be careful about when we are on a plane. But of course, you could make offers too. Like one passenger might say, "Oh, let me help you with your bag. Let me help you with that." Especially when you are trying to put your bag in the overhead compartment. That happens a lot, actually. I've had many passengers help me put my bag in or take my bag out. And you could ask that too. You could say, especially if your bag is in an overhead compartment that's in front of your seat or behind your seat, you might ask someone, would you mind grabbing that bag for me? And then usually people are very happy to do that. So it's no problem. Okay, so go ahead and take some time to make conversations with these locations, and then when you're finished, you can move on to part 3.